Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today for you guys is finally another Marvel movie review. Today we're tackling Black Panther 2, aka Black Panther Wakanda Forever, aka as everyone's calling it, Black Panther Wakanda for Never. Look, this is going to be a spoiler review, but it's also been kind of a bit of a train wreck because there's been a lot of I guess bad press, regarding this film. Of course, Chadwick Boseman passed away. We all know that. It sucks. It's bad. And then, of course, they were like, oh, we're changing the plot of the movie to, revolve around that. And then, of course, every, incel and reject online is like, only black people can see the movie. White people can't go. So it was like, all right, so we're essentially starting, what is it, like a third race war. They're all effing stupid, of course, but, of course, this is probably one of the dumbest ones yet. So, thankfully, me, my mom, dad, all these white guys went to see this film. And it was good. Now, I have to get this out of the way as well, because there's going to be someone asking, and with all these Disney-esque films, right, there's reasons why I didn't see Strange World. Basically, this is not a Disney film, but it's owned by Disney, and they get their little grubby mitts on everything. I love Disney World, but Disney as a company is kind of cuckoo. We'll get to more cuckoos in a little bit. But it's obviously mentioning, is this film woke, right? The Marvel Phase 4 has been just kind of a train wreck in terms of quality and political agendas. Of course, the left, they're seemingly like a plague in the MCU, seeping your way into everything and shoving their agendas down my throat. Whereas I just want a good movie. And thankfully this is a good movie, which we'll get into. But yes, it is a woke film, right? They gotta have their ticking boxes, you gotta have the lesbians, you gotta have CNN, you gotta have, the guy saying Namor, and him, how everyone has to hold hands and sing Kumbaya, and everyone's loving each other, and everyone's accepting. And it's just, a lot of people have even said online saying it's a liberal agenda, feminist movie. Now, some of the liberal ideas are, again, in this film. It's not as strong as, say, Thor Love and Thunder or Miss Marvel or She-Hulk, for example, but it's there to a degree, so if you're kind of sensitive to that, or if you're just Republican, or if you're just Democrat and you don't give a shit about all this political stuff, it is in there, sadly, and it doesn't necessarily hinder the film, but, again, it is in there to an extent, and it was on my mind. Okay, that's there, tick, 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 for all those people. So it is kind of a shame, we didn't just get a good movie to celebrate, not celebrate, but, kind of honor Chadwick Boseman. We get that, but there's also that stuff in there, so just be warned of that. But hopefully Phase 5 can get rid of the agendas, both either left or right, and just give me a good franchise again. So, going forward with Black Panther Wakanda Forever, there is definitely a sense of finality to it. There is a sense of, epicness on a grand scale that I didn't expect to be there. I enjoyed the first Black Panther for sure, but it just, the end fight between T'Challa and Killmonger just had such poor CGI. It reminded me of a freaking PS2 cutscene. Now, I know, right, it's about time and money, or they ran out of budget, or like I said, they ran out of time, whatever. But if it looks like trash, it looks like trash, and I'm going to say it looks like trash. Thankfully, barely, I don't think there was much of any CGI in this film that looked bad. Maybe there's one shot where Namor kind of dives into the water, it looked a bit rubbery, but other than that, that's a nitpick. CGI, for the most part, A-okay in Wakanda Forever. I think that weaving the story of Chadwick Boseman, a.k.a. T'Challa, his death, of course, again, like I said, this is going to be a spoiler review, so, thankfully, I think, look, there's a lot of people online saying, oh, recast T'Challa, recast. You guys are idiots. Now, I will say Marvel is a bit wonky with that as well. Chadwick Boseman died. They're like, we're never going to replace T'Challa. He was the one and only T'Challa forever. Wakanda! And then, of course, a white guy, William Hurt, dies. They're like, oh, fuck it. Just get Harrison Ford. Doesn't matter. Whatever. Who cares? Just get another guy. Easier. William who? Oh, William Hurt? Just get Indiana Jones, right? Han Solo, he'll do it. Yeah, it's a bit of a hypocritical thing to do. Whatever. It's stupid. It makes no freaking sense. What are you going to do? But basically, like I said, the way that they were able to kind of, weave T'Challa's passing for, they don't say cancer, but it's some kind of mysterious, crazy-ass illness that they, of course, can't fix, even though they're, magical. Whatever. Writing, right? What are you going to do? You can't bring him back from the dead. Unless Jesus does it, but he didn't do it. So it is kind of a bummer that, he did die. But the way they handle it in the story, I think, is actually pretty good, right? They have some tributes to him, but they do it in a way that isn't, it's not pandering. Still coughing. But it's also not cheesy and not earned. It definitely is not there to just play for sadness and be like, look, he's dead, be sad. But it's also there to, progress the story in really meaningful ways. Again, it's almost a 3-hour movie. And there's a lot of stuff in this film that there's, a lot of talking, but there's a lot of stuff that progresses the plot regarding him, regarding Shuri and how she handles it, regarding Riri Williams, of course, Ironheart. So there's a lot of really cool, scenes and stuff that kind of build on that stuff. Now, for example, Miss Marvel, that show, probably the second worst Marvel thing ever made, in my opinion. If you love it, that's awesome. I respect your opinion. Me, I hated it. And that show, there's a lot of, I call it Muslim tours, where they go, look, let's go to Pakistan, and let's have like 2-3 episodes straight of just, Miss Marvel, I forgot her name, Kamala Khan, just, let's have Kamala just go through the streets, and everyone's loving each other, it's peaceful, it's amazing. That's not how it is over there. I'm not saying everyone over there is a killer, but again, they try to make it seem like, I get it, it's an MCU version of the real world, but that felt a little pandering, a little kind of boring. It's like, I don't want to watch a tour of, I don't care if it was a tour of China, Japan, America, Hawaii. I want to see an action show. And this, they actually made it work, where they weren't just like, here's African tours and African songs and African whatever. They actually made it work in a really good way, and it actually makes sense to the plot. It's not just there to borrow time. It's not just there to say, look, we're awesome and you're not. It definitely is very much a case that they want to prove a point and show that their tribes and how they handle death and all that. They don't just cry and mourn like Americans do. Stupidest thing we've ever invented. They're dancing and all that shit. They're not dancing to celebrate it. They're dancing to honor the legacy of T'Challa the Black Panther, and that's really powerful stuff. And of course, you get tributes to him and all that, but then you get Atuma and you get Namor, not Namor. One of the stupidest things in the movie. I swear to God, he Peter Pan's his little way, his dinky little fairy wings come on the scene. And look, to be honest, I love Namor in the comics. I think he's pretty cool. And Namor the Submariner is cool. In this, not so much. As a villain, I wouldn't even say Namor is a villain in this film. Of course, Shuri has their reasons, and the Wakandans have their reason to fight. And, Namor and his tribe, his people, have reasons as well. So it is not, it's not cut and dry. It's very much, who's right, who's wrong. It's not, you're good, you're bad. It's, I can understand both to a degree. Of course, watch the movie, right? Riri Williams plays a big role in that, but like I said, Namor comes on the scene, right? And Shuri and Ramonda, they are, mourning. It's a good scene. They're getting, and he got a fairy. He Tinkerbells his way out of the water, and he goes, I swear to God, this is what I heard. Okay, this is not what it is in the movie, but this is what I heard. He goes up and he says, my friends call me Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but my enemies call me Namor. And I'm like, bah! I almost threw up my popcorn. Because first of all, I understand the tribe and the heritage, but I swear to God, it sounded like you said Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And first of all, it's not Namor. It's not a French accent. First of all, he's Mayan, and I get why they did it because, again, watch the movie. There's a reason why he's calling himself Namor because of the land dwellers and all that surface thing. But it just doesn't work. I'm sorry. Now, it's the only time in the movie that, everyone in Wakanda calls him Namor. So why the hell is he going, Namor? It's like, I don't understand it. I don't like it. It's weird. And I had a problem with it ever since they, gave that clip away on YouTube like a week or so before the movie even opened back in November. Again, just as a hardcore comic fan, it's weird. I guess you could say, oh, well, people pronounce things differently. Obviously, but, if you're over here saying smog, no, it's Smaug. Like, objectively. You know what I mean? It's not Gandalf. It's Gandalf. Gandalf, whatever, you know what I mean? It's not Santa Claus, it's Santa Claus, you know what I mean? I don't get it, whatever. Anyway, apart from that, I think Namor was a pretty decent character. Yes, he looks a bit silly. Yes, his motives aren't the best. As a villain, he's not even close to being intimidating. Again, he looks like a fairy. But at the same time, comparing him to Thanos, there's no comparison. But he's not trying to be a killer villain murderer. He's just trying to protect his people, and so is Shuri. So there's those, bouncing ideals off of each other that is really powerful. And then, of course, you see that, I guess, montage in the end where, Shuri and Namor are fighting, and, Black Panther, and you get that sense that, oh, shoot, maybe one is right, or maybe one's, they both have their reasons. And they do that through excellent directing and excellent writing, for the most part. Again, besides the woke stuff they shove down your throat, which isn't that much. Again, I thought I should mention it, because, it is typical Disney, but at the same time, they do have their writing stances, which are really good in this film, where there's stuff where I'm like, wow, I genuinely think that's cool. The whole underwater kingdom, that's cool. Riri Williams isn't that good of a character. She's just kind of there to say, I'm awesome, and, of course she has to drop the line, well, I'm a teenager, and I'm black, yeah! It's like, we get it, I get it, more politics, I get it, everyone matters, but it's just kind of ridiculous that they, whatever. But obviously, as a character, Phase 4 never had the best characters, especially women. Look at Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite Marvel movies of all time. But America Chavez in that film isn't a well-written character. She's just, oh, I'm sad. And then Doctor Strange is like, believe in yourself. Okay, I will. Oh, look, I'm powerful. It's just, imagine Tony Stark learned from his lessons and was instantly perfect 10 minutes into Iron Man 1. No one would like that. That's not how characters work. That's not how they should work. And Riri isn't, as bad as America, but she definitely has her moments where I'm like, okay, I get it. Her dad worked on cars. She's been doing this stuff since she was a little kid. That's believable. It's not as bad as America where she's like, I don't know how to control my powers. I just believe in myself and it'll work. There's a little bit of different writing in there. So yes, this movie, to round out Phase 4, I think it was a solid way to end it. Definitely, this movie is by far better than Black Panther 1. I don't hate that movie. I think it's pretty decent. But Wakanda Forever, it's bigger, it's better, it's not maybe as funny. This movie definitely, isn't as comedic as, say, Thor: Love and Thunder, where that was just, everything was joking. Jay's like, yeah, I have stage 4 cancer. It's pretty funny, right? It's like, that's not something to joke about. Infinity cones. Funny play on words, but it's like 9/11 happens, and then the next day they're like, let's make a fucking ice cream store about 9/11. It's the same thing. So, in fact, I would even argue that, obviously, 9/11 sucks ass, and it never should have happened, but comparing that to the Thanos, obviously Thanos is worse. So, that movie just makes fun of everything. It doesn't work. And this film does have some jokes. Obviously, this is not trying to be a comedy. It is just simply, more of a drama, action, obviously. And again, there's not a whole lot of action even in it. There are a few action set pieces in it, and they're awesome, and, definitely earned. At first I was like, this Namor guy, I don't know. His reasons are kind of wonky. And then Riri shows up, and like, her reasons are kind of... And toward the end of the movie, because it was so long, because they were able to, I guess, flesh out these characters more, maybe not to the extent of anything in Marvel Phase 1 through 3, but definitely they had some moments where I'm like, okay, I understand this, I understand that, I understand where this character's coming from, I understand where that character's coming from, and at the end of the day, it was a fun ride. It had a lot of epic moments, a lot of good action, a lot of good character moments. I don't really understand the feminist side of it. Yes, there's a lot of strong females, but if you have a problem with a strong female, you're just an a-hole. I get it. Phase 4 had a lot of issues where, like I said, there's all the liberal propaganda, there's all the women are amazing at everything, and every white man ever is bad. Hell, Black Widow, the main villain Taskmaster, is a woman, and even though she's murdering people, it's like, oh, you're fine. Who's really bad? The fat white guy. It's like, that's what they do in Phase 4. Eternals. Bad guy was a white dude. Shang-Chi, from what I remember, he was Asian, but probably a white guy in this somewhere. Phase 4 has a lot of these, moments where it's very cringy. Characters are just instantly good because writing demands it. So, look, Phase 4 had some good movies. Spider-Man No Way Home, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. It had good shows. It had... WandaVision was alright. What If was great. Falcon Winter Soldier was good. Moon Knight is fantastic. And then it also had some real stinkers like Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, and Thor: Love and Thunder. I enjoyed Thor: Love and Thunder. You know what I mean? I'll watch it again. It just was my least favorite out of Phase 4 for a lot of reasons. But I definitely have to say that Wakanda Forever is a good way to end Phase 4. Again, there's a few woke things in it, but in terms of non-woke negatives, I can't think of a whole lot. Maybe there's one scene where what is it? Namor's mom. They're like Namor's telling Shuri that backstory and how they turned blue and all that, and how Namor got his powers, like the mutant powers, which was kind of cool to hear him drop the word mutant. And they had like a really weird editing cut where the mom's like, "No, my baby," and then it just cuts to like the baby being born or whatever. It was kind of a funny cut where it's not supposed to be funny, but the way they cut it is just funny. So there's a few editing moments like that where they kind of cut around where it's a bit wonky, but again, that's kind of a nitpick. But if I wasn't even reviewing this, I would probably give it an A and just say it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I'll buy it on Blu-ray. It was fun, and I enjoyed it. But because I am reviewing it, I have to think of some negatives, and they're not bad. I'm probably going to give Black Panther Wakanda Forever an A or an A-, probably an A. I really don't have that many issues with it. The woke stuff, I don't like to account into a final grade. When there's a lot of it, I have to because it detriments the movie for overall messaging over like a good film. But there wasn't a whole lot of it in there, and quite frankly, I enjoyed the CGI, I enjoyed the acting, I enjoyed the character moments, I enjoyed the action, I enjoyed the writing for the most part, I enjoyed the motivations of both characters, especially Namor and Shuri, and it was definitely a surprise, you know what I mean? It was very faithful to the comics, it was very much, faithful to, I guess, T'Challa. I know that everyone said, oh, recast, and they probably should have, but the way they handled and kind of, passing the torch, so to speak, from T'Challa to Shuri is a good thing. Plus, T'Challa's got a son now, so that's cool. Again, I enjoyed all the characters. Again, look, going back to the feminist thing, I don't understand that claim because, yes, like I was saying, strong women can be bad, and so can strong men, and strong anyone if it's just they're inherently strong because they just are. You know what I mean? That's bad writing. Thankfully, all the women in this film, Okoye, Shuri, whatever, we've seen them before, and we've seen them grow. Maybe not as much as Iron Man or Captain America or Thor, but, we have seen them before. They're not just, like, here, and they're perfect. Riri is not just perfect. She can build these crazy-ass, suits and all that, Ironheart, but she's not perfect. You know what I mean? She gets scared. She doubts herself. She kills cops. I don't know if that was a BLM thing or what, but, whatever, but they don't even really... She's like, hey, I hope the cops aren't waiting for me at the airport. And she's like, no, we took care of that. It's fine. It's like, didn't you murder some policemen? Whatever. I don't know. Overall, I enjoyed it, though. Again, a few nitpicks here or there, a few negatives, but overall, better than the first one. And it was a good way to end out Phase 4. So tell me in the comments down below without spoiling Black Panther Wakanda Forever what you thought. Again, fun movie, a few things here or there, but overall better than the first one, and a very good, strong way to end out Phase 4. Hopefully Phase 5 can be even better without any messaging, just I want good movies again. Thankfully this one is a good movie. I do recommend it if you haven't seen it. Of course, if you haven't, I'm probably the last person in the world to see it. I was sick. I got sick like 6 times. I'm still coughing. I'm trying not to cough. And then my theater shut down, so I had to, it's just a hassle, but hopefully... Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania will be good. I'm looking forward to Loki Season 2. Deadpool 3. There's a lot of awesome MCU stuff. Blade. There's so much good stuff coming out. And, hopefully we can get some, good stuff and get the MCU back on track. Because I think recently we've kind of faltered, kind of fell off the tracks a bit. But hopefully we can get back on, stronger than ever. But I enjoyed it. Again, good action. Good motivations for the characters. It's fun. It's definitely a more mature movie than I thought. It's not just sad. For example, I thought that the trailers for this movie were horrible. It was just, let's play some music, and, the entire movie's plot, seemingly from the trailer, is Namor's there, and everyone's sad because T'Challa died. I get it. Death sucks. But I think, in my opinion, they took Chadwick's death, and they kind of marketed it a bit too much, too heavily, where... I was watching these trailers, and I'm like, I don't really want to even see this movie. It looks really bad. It's just them crying and mourning over this guy. Where's the plot? Like, I get it. He's dead. It sucks. But where's the plot? And thankfully, it is there, and it is actually really good. So the trailers for this movie were a bit wonky, bit misleading, I would say. The actual movie has a very good, plot. Getting to see, Namor in the Underwater Kingdom and just see how their tribe mixes with the Wakandan tribe and how their, ideals differ. It's really interesting stuff that you don't really see a whole lot of in the MCU. Often, you know, Iron Man and Captain America are good guys, Loki and Thanos are bad guys, and that's it. You know, it's classic good guy versus bad guy. This movie, there are really no good guys and bad guys. It's just how they, you know, like there's a scene where Shuri's like, if I think about my brother's death, I'm going to want to not only burn this, you know, cloak or whatever, you know, cape, or not cape, but, you know, the dress thing. I'm going to want to burn the world with me because I'm just mad. And Namor's like, oh, I heard you saying that. You can help me burn it. You know what I mean? So there's some really powerful moments in there where it makes the characters and the audience think. Plus, like I said, it's got some good Marvel action. And hey, Shuri is Black Panther? Pretty freaking cool. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.